Friends, hello everyone. My name is Maxim. You are on the Alanya Life Without Censorship channel. If you don't mind, I will put on my glasses because of the sun. October plus 27. So this is what we will talk about in this video. First, we will touch on the topic of obtaining work permits for foreign citizens. I will talk about some nuances that you should pay attention to. The next topic will be the President of the Chamber of Commerce's trip to Ankara. In the third part, we will touch on changes in obtaining residence permits for foreigners. In the concluding part, I will tell you that correspondence in WhatsApp can become a basis for evidence in resolving disputes in legal cases. Watch the video until the end. It will be interesting. So, friends, we all know that recently, the Ministry of Labor published a law stating that a foreign citizen who can invest $100,000 in opening their own company can obtain a work permit. The news was, look, a link to the channel as well as to our Telegram channel with links to the Ministry of Labor. You can visit and familiarize yourself. I won't dwell on this news. Why? Because it's well known to everyone. Yes, you open a company, deposit $100,000 into the account, and you can apply for a work visa. Moreover, your family members, adult children, and wife can also obtain a family residence permit. What do you need to know? Well, as an option, buy an apartment in any area, whether closed or open, for up to $100,000 and register such property under a company. Certainly, friends, you need to clearly calculate what your expenses will be for the SGK, Social Security Institution, and what your expenses will be for annual taxes when establishing a company. You also need to calculate the cost of accounting services. Why? Because they vary from one amount to another. Well, it depends on your qualifications or your acquaintances. So, friends, you opened a company and registered the apartment in your name. In some public forums, someone is saying that you can rent out this apartment and thereby show some income. In reality, friends, this is incorrect. It is fundamentally wrong. You are not allowed to rent out the apartment that you purchased and for which you obtained a residence permit where you are registered under any circumstances. So please, friends, forget about this. That's the first point. The second point is something you should know. When you open a company, you must clearly understand what specialization you will be focusing on. Why? Because the labor market in Turkey is protected. You cannot work, for example, as a lawyer, customs broker, hairdresser, and so on. There is a list of these professions and I will post it. Be sure to check our Telegram channel. I will also explain what specialties you can work in. So, you need to clearly understand which specialty you will be working in. The first, the second, the third, or the fourth. The next point, friend. The presence of any business implies the existence or absence of an office. For example, if you provide certain accentuation services, a home office will be sufficient, meaning that the apartment where you live will be enough. But if, for example, you want to open a real estate agency or say, start a rent-a-car company or something else, then you will need an office, which actually means additional expenses. So, before you dive into this story, friends, you need to clearly understand your path from point A to point B. Yes, that is, you need to know what profession you will be working in. Is it allowed to work in this profession? Do you need an office for that? Or it may not be needed. In principle, any accountant will advise you on this. That is the most important point I wanted to draw your attention to. Friends, the new initiative has already come into effect. It hasn't really been tested yet, but as a working scheme, it is actually a way out for enterprising people. Again, regarding foreign citizens who have lived in Turkey for 5 years, with 3 years of continuous residence, they have the right to open a company under the old conditions, but they cannot hire 5 Turkish citizens. That is, they can hire 3 people, but there must be parity in the company. There should not be more foreign citizens than Turkish citizens. Next point, citizens whose parents or children have Turkish citizenship have the right to obtain a work permit through a simplified system. And the last innovation, friends, is for IT specialists. Yes, for the first 2 IT specialists, Turkish citizens are actually not required. But all this news regarding work permits, I believe, is wonderful news. I think Alanya will turn into a European city because, after all, small businesses everywhere are the driving force of progress. The construction sector of Alanya is appealing to Ankara for a resolution to their problems. The president of the Chamber of Commerce is traveling to Ankara next week to discuss the issues facing the real estate construction sector and the region as a whole. What key points and key programs will be discussed?
In our episodes, we cover everything about life in Turkey and traveling across the country, where it is warm almost year-round. Tall palm trees, fresh farm fruits and vegetables all year-round. If you decide to choose a place to live here, our company, Prime Invest, will be happy to help you find the best option where you will be happy to live. We are also developers and build beautiful villas with sea and mountain views. All contact details are in the description.
First, these are the investment limits. Currently, we know that to obtain residency, one must have an investment of $200,000 when calculating the cost. There is a proposal to lower this amount to $100,000. The next question he wants to discuss is the restriction on foreign property ownership. Currently, there is a rule that foreigners can own no more than 20% of real estate in a certain area. So, what does he propose? He suggests not to strengthen it by districts and to do all of this by neighborhood so that it actually spreads out a bit. The next point regarding the rules for short-term rentals. In general, short-term rentals are actually a cornerstone issue. Something was thought up. But in my opinion, it all seems somewhat crooked and off. Everything could have been done much more simply. I will repeat, it could have been enough to just require everyone to buy a certificate for a one-bedroom apartment for 500 euros a year, for a two-bedroom, for 1,000, for a three-bedroom, and so on. You get a certificate, hang it up, there's some control, that's it. No, they came up with some licenses and other things. In general, they talk a lot, but in fact, the budget is still lacking funds if we are talking about some key issues. The next point. He also wants to talk about allowing foreign citizens to open accounts in Turkish banks without having residency. Why perhaps? Because indeed it is very important. People transfer money, people somehow accumulate it, people plan certain purchases and their actions. If you don't have residency, it is actually a huge problem. Yes, now you can open a bank account without residency, but only through some acquaintances. And it actually takes a lot of effort. Again, renting is such a topic, my friends. It is clear that everyone wants to buy, everyone wants to rent out, and everyone wants to earn. On one hand, on the other hand, there are few countries in the world where residency can be obtained through rental. Therefore, this topic is actually open and quite complex. Now, friends, we are moving on to the third part regarding obtaining residency. Let's go. So, friends, regarding obtaining residency, there have actually been some very serious changes. Everyone who has long wanted to be in Turkey, to live in Turkey, in this beautiful country, now has such an opportunity. Currently, they have the right to obtain a tourist residency permit by purchasing an apartment in an open area. Moreover, friends, the cadastral value of the property is absolutely unimportant. In other words, roughly speaking, you bought for $50,000 or 60,000 euros only in an open area. Please submit your documents for residency. For the first time, you will be granted a tourist residency permit for 6 months. After that, it will be renewed. The next point, friends, also remember situations where a family, for example, consisting of 3 people, has one spouse owning an apartment, receiving a 2-year residency permit, while the wife and children receive permits for 6 months. It's actually quite silly. So this is about Orokovits, right? Now, a family member also has the right to obtain a 2-year residency permit when receiving residency through TAPU. As for renting, friends, well, first of all, for citizens of Ukraine, there are no problems at all with renting. You can obtain residency. The second question is how it will actually be extended, right? Does the tourist residency permit get extended? Yes, the tourist residency will be extended, but friends, you will still need to show official income. What can official income consist of? It can be simply a deposit in the bank, or there should be some contracts, such as agreements with foreign companies, so that the bank or, for example, the tax authorities can see that money from abroad is coming to you for the services you provided. Of course, taxes are paid here as a resident and so on. Therefore, friends, I believe this is also great news. Please obtain residency. Everyone who loves Turkey, come to buy in the open area and get a tourist residency. There are rumors that after the new year, the threshold for obtaining residency will be lowered. Although this information is actually still up in the air, friends, we know that things always happen this way in Turkey. First, some rumors and discussions arise, and then this somehow evolves into some kind of order or a legislative proposal. Yes, we are waiting for the opening of areas. Yes, we are waiting for the reduction of residency permits, the cost of residency. It is precisely according to the TAPU, friends, how a tourist differs from 5 years of property ownership. With a TAPU, you can become a tourist citizen and apply for a tourist passport. Unfortunately, if you have a tourist residency permit, you will not be able to do this. So, friends, the last topic of the new season. electronic correspondence as evidence in debt collection cases. In the modern world, friends, we are increasingly using it more often. Telegram, WhatsApp, Viber, the basis of the Supreme Court's decision, recognize conversations in messengers as admissible evidence that can significantly influence the outcome of a case. If the conversation is directly related to a debt, the repayment of a debt, the deadlines of certain transactions, the return of debt payments, or anything else, friends, then this can ultimately serve as evidence of your position. So what needs to be done? Friends, first, be sure to be correct. Second, save and sincerely keep all these conversations somewhere in the cloud. Thirdly, try to be more specific in your conversations. Definitely avoid rambling and be clear and understandable. We know what battles are currently taking place between tenants, landlords, and so on, including some threats. Here, friends, your conversation will actually serve as some evidence of your position. Well, friends, on this good note, I say goodbye to you. I have hugged you all. I have lifted you all up. All the best and goodbye.